Well,
yo,
I got to tell you something.
I'm listening.
I'm grateful to be stroked up.
Are you grateful to be stroked up, huh?
Yeah, you know, they call it the art of stimulation, right?
Right, the art of mental stimulation. Every time.
That's crazy to me.
Okay.
You want to know why?
Why?
Do you know what it's like to touch another brain?
I try to do it often.
Yeah, that's a rarity.
I try to do it often.
I mean, think about what you just said. I try to do it often.
I try to do it often.
What, touch another brain?
Touch another brain, I try to do it often.
I ask yourself this question on a serious note. How many people have you come across that are actually trying to resonate with another brain?
Well, I haven't come across a lot of people, maybe that voiced it, but I can't say what people are trying to do on their own accord. Because I probably was, huh?
You mean you don't want to make any assumptions about people?
Yeah, I don't want to make any assumptions. But it's rare to come in contact with another individual that you can really sit there and interchange information and you really trying to get and understand that person. It's rare to find people who even want to go there.
That's sad.
It is, but it's the world we exist in, so live in. So all we can do is try to, show people that it's cool to do so. Open them up, a little vulnerability, a little transparency in that area, and let people know there are other people out there that's trying to
make you laugh.
Okay.
Stroked up. I'll be like, go ahead, open me up.
Stroked up. You like that, Flora? Stroked up.
Open me up.
Okay, open you up.
Yeah, don't get it twisted.
You want to be
now.
stroked. I want to be stroked. You want to be stroked up?
Hey.
I just want to be stroked.
Hey.
It don't matter if it's up or down, right or left, side to side, back and forth. Just
East,
stroke.
west, south, north, don't matter.
I need my entire brain stroked.
Right here.
Mental stimulation is an aphrodisiac to me. It don't matter which way you come with it.
I think they got a phrase for that. I don't know it and I don't even care, but I think it's something that people are trying to get more familiar with. That's the stimulation of a brain, and they think that's sexual now. So.
A lot of people say, yeah, that could turn you on, especially, dropping some, well, I guess if you're into that type of thing, because if someone dropping some real knowledge, I'll be in a trance. Just, oh my God. And that's not even just female. I'm saying male dropping some knowledge, I'm in a trance.
Sound like you whipped already.
I just love it, man. When it comes to knowledge, I am, and I'm not afraid to say it. It's a vulnerable moment for anybody that wants to know. You want to reach me? Yeah. Stroke my brain.
Oh my God, that's S&M on site. Like grab a black whip and spank this individual, and now you twist it.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, I can agree with you 100% because, truth be told, I mean, technically speaking, hey, I agree with that.
Okay. How could you not, man? That resonates.
Well, again, you already know one of the things that we're afraid of is vulnerability, right?
That's my
A lot of people want to judge people in a society that will dominate people, dominatrix. And we'll bring sex into the category for a split second. Mm-hmm. Dominatrix is something that actually exists in our world. It's actually
more common than we think. I've had quite a few conversations with individuals where they brought that up, and speaking of sexuality, they actually, they into that. And we had that kind of atmosphere where that kind of thing could be discussed, and I was like, wow, I didn't realize this many people were into it. A couple times, I almost was starting to think myself, like, wow, that sounds interesting. I'm like,
well, let's break that down real quick. Think about how often we have to be in control, or at least appear to be in control. We want to relinquish control to some degree, right?
I guess you relinquish in control if you like the submissive in that scenario. I just think in that scenario,
be real.
In that scenario, it depends on you as an individual. You might be submissive. I'm more of a dominant. And I think even in that scenario, I'm saying, because it sounds like that's what you're interested in, the submissive part. The way you're breaking it down. My thing is I come off more of the dominant. So to be in the atmosphere where, that's okay and whatever, I mean, that might be a cool thing. I just can't, that's just not me. But if it's you, it's cool, or if you're both.
Psychology says.
Some people are versatile like that.
Well, I know I am.
There's nothing wrong with it.
And I'm okay with it.
But in that scenario, yeah, it's all me. I ain't gonna say it's all me, but it's all me and you, but I'm dominant.
See, that's how you like to play games sometimes, and I think that's kind of comical to a degree. But I'm gonna go ahead and address it this way.
Okay.
Let me go ahead and let me be the dominant right now.
Okay.
Okay. Let Stro introduce himself real quick.
And this, okay, you can do that here.
So when it comes to something like that, man, it's real simple to me. When you're always the alpha, and you're constantly being the alpha, every so often you want the comfort of someone else being able to take some form of control. And that's how we get to dominatrix.
Yeah, I understand that, but that's not the part of dominatrix that would even appeal to me. So I don't mind. Let me make this point. Okay. I'm not saying I don't have moments where it's okay. Like it's just moments where I don't mind it or whatever. But in that scenario, I'm not gonna say I do, but that's what I'm in it for.
Well, let me clarify again. I use that as an analogy. I didn't want to say or imply that I personally meant that I need a dominatrix in my life.
I mean, either way, we're just speaking.
But that's kind of funny to me.
That's funny.
Because I'm the one with the leather suit on.
I got
doing
you.
The whipping.
Leather suit, doing the whipping.
Yeah.
Chains tying the legs up. All
hey, calm down.
Oh, okay. Because you're the ones painting the picture. And you
I was using that as an example.
Yeah, I got carried away. But
you really do. And you do that often, but that's okay. We'll deal with it accordingly.
Yeah, we definitely will deal with it accordingly. Because you're not going to stop this show. Yeah, but anyway.
But I guess I'll come back to that because being an alpha male, who doesn't want people that can aid them along the way, support them along the way? That only helps you to be better. The problem with alphas in general is we don't know how to relinquish control. Mm-hmm. We don't know how to say, okay, what you're saying is important and I can value that.
Yeah.
Again, I use that extreme analogy only to come back to that particular point.
Gotcha.
You know, do I want to be dominated? Only if I can dominate back.
I mean, I want to be, taking care of that aspect. And when I say earlier, we were speaking of dominatrix, and in that scenario, that's all I would want to be. But it's like an everyday thing, like you said. I understand what you mean by wanting to relinquish control sometimes. Thank you. Yeah, that's cool. I was speaking in that arena. That's the only way I would desire to be in that area. And I'm not saying I would do that. Not saying I would or wouldn't, but
it's an analogy.
Yeah, it's an analogy.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't want to get carried away with that.
Oh no, I was just going back to a point. No, we're adults. I was going back to make a point of the separation of what I meant.
Or rated R.
It's whatever we wanted it to be, man.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, you and I both know that we're trying to create purpose within ourselves, right?
I love the word purpose. That's one of my favorite words.
And you and I both are alpha people.
And you and I both, let's really truly introduce ourselves. We kind of said it quickly.
Okay, well, here we are. This is Stro, the art of mental stimulation. I'm Stro.
And I'm D-Luv.
Man, it's such a privilege to be on the microphone with you, D-Luv.
Likewise, brother. Likewise.
And one of the things that you and I have a desire to do is touch people and resonate with them, right?
That's it, man. That's it.
Man, if we can't touch a brain, we're wasting our time.
All right. We were just speaking of my favorite word, purpose. And I don't know. I don't know, that word does something to me. It resonates all through my core, through my soul. It's just what I strive for at all times. Do you think everybody has it in them naturally where they just want to fulfill their purpose, or is it just only certain select people that?
Well, I think if we're not dealing with a conditioned mind, then everybody has a purpose.
Okay.
I think the very moment you are born, you have a desire.
Okay.
And your biggest thing at that moment is to figure out what your desire is that resonate with your physical being.
Do you think one's purpose could be bigger than the other, or no matter how small your role or the purpose of your life? Because some people's life is shorter, some people are longer, some people have more of a role to play. Do you think all of them are just as important? Because without that even small thing, the larger scale thing couldn't happen.
Okay, well, let's go back to creation, or let's look at life, in the full capacity. Take a tree, take a plant, take a bug. Do they all serve a purpose?
Yeah.
So the roles get measured by our expectations or how we view things. I think they're all equal, if you ask me.
Okay, I was asking that because it seemed like, some people, when it comes to dreams and purpose, some people, I would say, reach higher. And they say because it's like a calling or whatever. So I'm saying, you think it's a such thing as their calling is higher than the next person, but everything, like you say, everything's equal though.
I truly believe everything's equal in that capacity. Now, what you reach for is up to you. Now, being that we're animals with a higher conscious, I truly believe, are you tapping into what your conscious is capable of?
Right.
Do you know what your capacity is? Being that I believe that a mind has no limits, I think that's what connects us to the ultimate power,
right?
The higher being.
You think like some people purpose, when I say bigger, let me see, I want to state this. Like, okay, let's say a mother, she had kids, but she didn't raise them or rear them. She didn't bring them up or whatever. And let's say, I ain't gonna say this mother passed or whatever, but kids may be mad over that, kids upset about it, but was her purpose fulfilled just by getting them here?
No. It served a purpose.
It served a purpose. But what if that was just her purpose? How do we know what the purpose was? Like, what if it's never her role to play that role as the mother? She was just supposed to get them here. That was the plan. So you think it's always a mother's role or whoever's role?
Well, no, because I'm gonna simplify it like this. That would fall under the category of something called predestination. Okay. So your primary purpose for existing is to give birth to a person, and that's it. You serve no other purpose.
Well, maybe that is the purpose. What if that person grows up to be something to stop this or to do this? And
that would stop you from having a choice in life. And one thing I believe in is I know I have a choice.
Right, but that can never be possible.
Not in my world.
Never be possible. Like this
Man,
person.
The very moment I was born, the very moment I was conceived, I started influencing the world before I even came out the womb.
Keyword I think that's everybody has that though. Everybody
is capable of that.
Okay, but what if? Okay, talking about a higher power, but what if that literally was their only role in God's plan for the role they played in those people's lives? Not saying their own life, but maybe I was just supposed to get you here. Your own life, it might be other plans, but your plan for them was just to get them here, and it never was. You never were supposed to bring them up. Do you think stuff like that is possible?
No. No. And if that happened in life, and you think it only in that situation, then you're limited.
I'm asking because I know some people like that. I know when their mother wasn't, she wasn't around like that. She brought them about, and they're successful. They have great things going for them.
I got that in my own personal life.
Right, and I actually broke it down to them like that. Like, maybe that just wasn't her purpose. Her purpose was just to get y'all here, Look at it from a different type of perspective.
Yeah, and I'm not disagreeing with you in the sense of trying to view it in a positive light. But, like, if I take my own personal life, and I say, well, if my mom only served the purpose of giving birth to me because that's her primary role in my own personal life. See, that's extremely familiar to me.
Yeah.
The only privilege I have is she's actually still breathing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't have the privilege of their parents or the person that gave birth to them to still be breathing.
Yeah, so looking at it that way is looking at it personally. I'm saying on the grand scheme of things, that was their purpose too. This would have never happened. This has to happen for this to happen. This has to happen. This has to happen. This person's supposed to raise it. This person.
Well, I'll look at it and I'll say this: the very moment you came out the womb and the breath of life existed in you, your purpose is to do something.
And that's something. Giving birth to these people that could change the world or something like that.
But if we look at the people that birth us on that type of capacity, we might limit ourselves. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, but I'm just saying in that instance, do you think that couldn't have been that person's purpose? Not saying they had no other purpose. You're probably supposed to go out and do other stuff. But with that situation, that was your only job. You still don't think so?
Only job?
Because are you looking at it like more so like that's giving them a way out for neglecting them or for?
Well, I have a child. So I'll look at it in this capacity again. So her mother and I decided to have a child, right? Mm-hmm. Was that our sole purpose?
It's not case by case. You think it's possible in any case. That might not be your situation.
No, I'm just using that as an example. And again, I'm just trying to make it more relatable, but
Gotcha.
I agree with what you're saying in the sense that, all right, so when it comes to purpose to me, purpose is only defined by your inner ambition, is what I believe. Now, I can't neglect anybody's thoughts, and I don't want anybody to ever think that I'm putting down that particular idea. If you can find ambition in that, then I'm going to promote you.
All right.
That makes sense? I'm going to pat you on the back and I'm going to say, keep going, because I get it.
Yeah, I'm trying to, so you see what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, like.
Because I've heard that all my life. Don't get it twisted like I never heard it or that I can't understand it.
Right.
Because I do.
Okay, because like growing up, if these particular people, let's say, would have grew up with this person who may have demons they were fighting or things they were going through, their life wouldn't have ended up the way it is now. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying that scenario, that was the purpose for that. You probably supposed to. Okay.
I gave birth to you.
Yeah,
I served my purpose.
That is not your only purpose.
But that's the purpose.
But in that situation,
at the moment to give life to you, right?
Because I think I believe in God. I don't know, people may believe in what they believe in, but they say God has a plan. So you don't think that could have just been his plan, just for you to get him there? He knew you'd be battling these demons. He knew this, and he knew if they were with you, things would have turned out this way. So he made it where they were in a different situation. They all came out.
Okay, I'm gonna make a connection. I'm gonna make a connection for you.
Okay.
They say every child is a gift of God.
Okay.
Right? So that technically means every bearer of children served that particular person by God.
Mm-hmm. Serve their purpose, you saying?
Serve their purpose.
Okay.
So I can easily agree with you, but the problem is people let that become a handicap.
Yeah, I can see that.
So my point in that, your purpose is within you. And you have to see that picture better than the fact that you came through a canal.
Okay.
Remember Moses?
I can't make you see my point on this.
No.
No, I'm really thinking. I'm not putting it to you in a way that I want to, because we're not there where I'm trying to be with that one. I'm trying to see.
Well, show me the light.
You mean tell you? I'm trying to think of a way to put it that way. I feel like you talking about purpose in a different way than I'm talking about it. You saying like give birth. That's your only purpose. Bye. That was it. I feel like every situation that God orchestrates or plan He has, I don't think it's always just rainbows and Fruit Loops and happiness and all that. Sometimes all that kind of purpose can be birthed from pain. He can put you where you're supposed to be from pain.
Yeah. Here's... So you saying, let's say you take an individual, mom gives birth, goes to rehab. Okay. Or gets locked up.
And
or
they have
kills
to go
herself.
Yeah, they have to go stay with somebody else or something.
Whatever the case may be.
Right.
And you're born and you have to suffer through that, so to speak, because that's pain and suffering.
And God, it pulled you out of the situation, put you elsewhere. Whole life better, everything. Not saying that's nobody's only purpose, but that was the purpose of her getting you there for that. He never intended on this person to bring you up. That was the whole intention the whole time. I'm not saying that's the case with every one of them, but I'm saying, is it possible for that to be the case at all? With anybody. That be that person's purpose. I'm not speaking for every mother that's giving birth. I'm like that could be a scenario.
Well, I look at situations like that and I say, if your situation was that you had a mother that gave birth to you.
Take all personal out of it.
No, I mean, none of that matters to me.
Yeah.
I don't care who they are, what their situation or circumstances are. I really don't. I don't care if you grew up in a privileged household. I look at it as simple as this. Your purpose is a part of you.
And their purpose is a part of them. So whatever they fulfill in life, that's their purpose. Whatever the other kid feeling like, that's their purpose. Even whatever the mother feels in life, that's their purpose. I'm saying that's the sole purpose. They all have individual purpose, but I'm saying the purpose for that mother, she just got him there. That was the purpose. Maybe she wasn't supposed to raise him because she wasn't the right one for the job. That wasn't how you intended. That's all I'm saying. Everyone still has their individual purpose of what they want to accomplish and all that. Yeah. The mother purpose might turn out to be a public speaker and speak to kids who didn't have their mother in their life or something like that because it was bred from that. I mean...
But who defines purpose?
You're saying you. Each individual. I guess you could use the word just to how I was using that situation to get to higher ground to start off some healing. Because it provided healing to people to even look at it that way.
Because if that person's role in your life was to give birth, I say that's not your. I mean, be grateful. You have life in you, right? Mm-hmm. And then after that, you define
your purpose.
Yours.
Exactly.
I agree with that.
Okay.
100%.
Okay, I feel like we meeting up. We got some kind of way. I just have to hear it come full circle like that.
Hey, man, it's okay. You know, they call that development and communication at the end of the day.
Oh, yes.
A lot of people will be afraid of conversation, and they'll think and only turn it into an argument.
All right. Like when you guys listen to us on here, sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree, sometimes we won't even care at all. We just like to stretch the mind, push boundaries, see where things can go sometimes. And like we say, we love the brain, we love to think. So sometimes you might get caught up like, oh my God, they think this. Oh my God, they think. When you actually don't really know what I think till I tell you. It's just what it is.
Well, I mean, that's real simple because who is in one's mind?
Right.
But yourself.
Exactly, man.
And then we struggle with our own mind at the end of the day.
Boy, I'm trying to
think about the conflict you have with yourself. And people are afraid to address that, right?
Right.
Like I look at myself sometimes and here I am, strode up for some odd years, 349. I make 340 this year.
Okay, there you go, Tree.
Hey, I'm rooted. So my struggle becomes very simple in that here I am having conflict with myself and then I have to go exist in a society.
Exactly.
And so I have my own ideology, my mythology. I have all these things that run through my own brain. And I have to learn how to manage with other people and not offend. And then what are you doing at that moment? A lot of people say you're being fake and you're pretending at that moment. You're not being yourself. And I say, oh, I'm being all of me. I'm just being considerate along the way.
Gotcha.
So that's an odd thing for me to look at people and deal with people on that level. So that's one of the privileges I have with you, D-Luv, is that here we are having a conversation about purpose. Purpose. What's your purpose? Right? And I sit there and I go, man, look, everything is defined only by what you imagine in your own mind. We have definitions that exist in our world that become our concepts, our ideology, our religion, our belief system. And next thing we know, if it doesn't fit another person, guess what we have? A divided world.
Yeah, true.
That's a struggle for me. I never agreed with that. Even in my most ignorant state of mind in my youth, that was a struggle for me.
Gotcha. In your youth.
What you trying to say? I'm not young anymore?
Nah, we missed it.
Who missed it?
I was cracking a joke. You said my ignorance and my young. I say, oh, you were young? I'm just messing with you.
You saying I'm still ignorant? Sometimes.
I'm still ignorant in some aspects, though.
Hey.
And I'm always willing to learn, though.
Look, that's one of the most beautiful things about you and I is that we want to constantly grow. So, yeah, we're ignorant to some things.
At all times, bro.
Bruh, come on, man. Join the mic with me real quick.
What your
challenge me?
You always want that, man. I'm gonna ask a question. You want to be challenged, huh?
Yes, I do. Challenge me.
Okay.
Something I've never thought about.
I won't say you never thought about it, but maybe to that capacity. I'll push it once you get into that. You know how I do it. We're speaking of purpose, higher powers, and all that. For you to be at your highest state, for you to feel like you actually fulfilling that purpose, what does that look like for you? Paint a picture with words. Into your purpose.
For me to reach my highest state?
Yeah, if I bring it your highest state,
belief in myself.
Belief in yourself. Paint the picture. What does that look like? Believing in yourself. What else? Freedom. I think you mentioned freedom before.
Well, that's, being truly liberated, right? Mm-hmm. Not having any conditional thought. But I have to be honest with you, it involves a core group of people. Okay. Because I'd be ignorant not to believe that if I do not have a core group of people, believing that I can reach my highest state without that is ignorant.
So you think no one can reach their highest state without other people?
I think they'll suffer.
Without other people?
Interesting. Without any person, yes.
How so?
Because nothing in our world proves contrary to that.
So you think me alone, myself, if I didn't have a circle, I didn't have this core group of people, I could not vibrate at my highest self.
When you say your higher self, what are you talking about? Are you measuring money or are you measuring happiness?
That's what I asked. What's the higher self to you? That's what I just asked. Now you're getting the question. I was actually paint the picture of your higher self. So whether it's just happiness, no money.
It's happiness.
It's traveling. What does that look like
for
you to be fulfilling your purpose and your higher self?
My higher self is the purebredness of joy and happiness. And through that, it's my self-sacrifice. So one of my greatest ambitions in life is to be able to help people, right? And that brings me an absolute great joy.
Exactly.
So
that's what we agree.
For me, that still consists of fundamental things. I have to have a core group of people that help me to believe in myself as well.
Okay.
We'd be ignorant to believe that we can only build ourselves up by ourselves.
Okay, true. But so it's not possible at all?
It's not possible. Okay. My highest purpose in life is to fulfill that joy in giving to people.
Yeah, I have the same purpose. God always tell me, if I help people and I give to people and I pour into people, I never want for anything. And I haven't wanted for anything in a long time.
You know, one of the oldest, supposedly, philosophies or mythologies is that it's better to give than to receive.
It is.
That's a selfish quality, just so you know. Think about it. Break it down for me.
So it's better to give than to receive? You think that's selfish to want to give?
Especially once you know it.
So once you know it's better to give? No. So, I mean, it's better to give
than to receive.
So I'm giving, I'm pouring into people, I'm pouring light.
But you know once you know the very moment that you are giving, you shall receive.
But who says receive what?
Joy,
giving, happiness, blessings.
In giving.
Yes.
So you're doing it for a selfish reason.
To receive happiness. No, it's like a byproduct of it. I don't think
it is a byproduct.
So it's that way. It's not selfish. It's just coming back to you.
It's innate.
But that's not why I do it. So you think if it didn't come back, if the happiness and all that didn't come, wasn't a byproduct, people wouldn't do it. They wouldn't help people.
Let me put it like this: it creates an endorphin, knowing they would be able to provide and generate for other people, inspire people. That creates, it secretes something within you naturally.
So the first person who ever helped or gave or whatever, you think before they even knew what that felt like, and they just did it.
We didn't understand psychology back then. They know they felt good.
But the reason they did it, it wasn't because of that, because they didn't know that.
They didn't know at first.
But so you're saying once they knew, they became selfish. Well, how?
That's when we learned that it created that, and that's how we came with up an idea.
I can't see that because it wasn't selfish.
You need to go read
the first
that book
time
I
they
told
did
you
it.
about.
The first time they did it, it wasn't that so-called selfish act. So why they can't be doing it for the same reason?
I'm not going to say that.
I'm
not going to say that.
To begin with,
because the first time an ape gave another ape a fruit, he might have did it simply because he knew that ape wouldn't beat him up.
Or he just figured he might be hungry too.
I doubt it. He'd have took the egg.
Okay. I don't know. I'm going to have to beg to differ on that one.
And you can beg if you want now. I ain't take you for a beg.
Beg to differ, huh? Oh, you going to go there? Yeah, I mean, the endorphins you get from helping, I don't know.
I didn't want to twist up the belief system. This is simply what I mean. It technically is better to give than receive. And I share that same...
Yeah, I see what you did. I just mentioned it. Sometimes you push thought just to see where it goes sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
You hear that?
Yeah, but I share that quality because I do want to be a giver. I do want to share
a selfish giver.
No, I'm not looking for anything in return. Sometimes, look, one of the things I learned along the way is not only is it better to give than receive. When you gift, you shouldn't make it a public spectacle either.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that.
That's what makes it genuine.
Okay, myself, I'm like that too. I don't have to make a public spectacle. I don't have to be known. People don't have to know I did it.
Right.
But for the people who do, maybe some people will say that maybe they're trying to spark other people to do the same thing. That's why they record it. That's why they whatever. How do you feel about that? You don't think that could ever be the case?
Yeah. And we actually should. Like, for example, when I think about my generosity or your generosity, because I learned through you as well, I think that's inspiring. And I think if we connect to people that are doing it like that, we'd have a better society. And look, I joke about selfishness only simply because we forget that we are selfish. And if you never acknowledge it, then you will never grow. That's all I mean when I say it.
Everybody's selfish.
Every single person walking the face of this earth. Think about this. We call ourselves mammals, right?
Okay.
Right? You know that's simply an animal with a higher conscience.
Yeah. I get it.
So every animal, technically by nature, is selfish. So my point is, if we can't accept that about ourselves, we actually can't be pure.
Okay. I hear you, Stro.
That's all I mean, though.
We can't accept that we're selfish. So you think it's not a being on the earth that does something that's just not for themselves?
I don't know
a
single person.
So minimalists, people who don't care about material things, people who...
I don't care about material things.
People who do mercenary trips to other countries just to help out. You think they doing that for that endorphin type of thing? So they still doing it?
It's a drug at the end of the day. Ask any scientist that studies the brain and watches an endorphin or any type of chemical that's generated through the body to the brain. Mm-hmm. They'll simply tell you, I'm talking about a purebred scientist now. They'll say, well, I hate to tell you this, neurologically speaking, this is what it's doing to that person's brain when they gift like that. You know, that can be addictive.
So you thinking,
I'm not denying the fact that it's not a great cause.
Okay.
I don't want to get this confused. That's remarkable. And if you knew me on a personal level, you know I served in a ministry at one time or another in my life.
Okay, yeah. I've heard it a time or two.
Yeah. So I get it. And I did it because I thought I was doing something extremely great for people. Okay. And it was sacrificing myself. And let me tell you.
But were you doing it for yourself? You might have sacrificed yourself. Okay, that's when you wasn't selfish. That wasn't selfish.
But it was a drug, though.
But it wasn't selfish. That's the
create a high, though.
So you think selfishness and self-preservation, is that what you think you're more speaking of? People are always going to try to preserve self and do his best. I think it's a difference.
I'm not connecting those two.
But I think should you be?
No.
Because the way you're breaking down self, I don't think everybody's selfish, man.
How? Now hold up.
I think everybody. I just don't think everybody's selfish out to gain something from everything they do. Even whether it's energy, whether it's getting happiness, whether it's I don't view it like that.
And hey, look, you don't have to.
I know. I'm just letting you know I don't.
Now there are degrees to our selfishness.
Okay, that's how you're gonna let yourself out of that one. You got degrees. Well,
zero. I mean, let's be real.
It must be a level 0 too. It has to be a level zero. Ground zero too. That must be where the people like me reside.
Well, I mean, like I take somebody like yourself, right? Since everything has to relate to some degree on a personal level. I think you're a very self-sacrificing person. But we'd be in denial if we actually don't see our own selfishness in any capacity.
But half the time what's leading me is not even within me. It's something else that's leading me to do the things that I do.
You are generated from a higher power. Yes. You actually do know how loving you are. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, let's be real with each other. One of our biggest fears is being extremely vulnerable. When we're not truly vulnerable, guess what we're being at that very moment?
We're being selfish because we're not exposing all parts of ourselves. But is everybody entitled to that invulnerability? Do we have to?
No, I agree with you.
I guess
you can be selfish and not be that vulnerable.
Yeah, but I guess
you have to protect
at the end
yourself.
of the day, being vulnerable would be being ourselves, though. So we would be. Being vulnerable would be being ourselves. So technically, when we're not being vulnerable, we're sacrificing ourselves. We're not being selfish. Sacrifice ourselves to please other people.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we are.
I think that's one of the reasons why we're being so selfish.
Why?
Because we need to protect self.
Yeah, I guess you can look at it from both angles, but I think I think it's sacrifice when I'm not vulnerable. I really do.
You would say that.
I think it's sacrifice because me being vulnerable is me being my total self, unapologetically, not caring, just pouring things out. So I think I'm sacrificing by not doing that.
Yeah, that's one way to put that out there. Sure.
You think I'm trying to get away from it?
You can run if you want to. Hey, but, and that's the scary thought, though. I mean, can we be that vulnerable?
I don't know. Most people, I don't know, can't accept it, but I'm not going to say, but I've actually found that a lot of people love transparent and vulnerable people because that's what they aspire to be. People, if I met like that, it's like, ooh, they so free. It's like you're drawn towards them.
Ooh, I agree with you so
when
much.
I meet people, ooh.
But you want to know another thought that goes with that?
Okay.
The very moment that you show vulnerability, don't show it as weakness, and you use that as strength of character, people will dislike you.
If you don't consider your vulnerability as weakness, and you use it as strength of character, people won't like you.
There are people,
there's some that's not gonna like you at all times. No one is 100% liked. So that would always be a fact.
Well, that is a fact. But I wanna show you how that connects with people. Because we all technically have insecurities. People that can't understand that you're comfortable in that skin will project. Because they won't understand the confidence.
Right.
Like,
arrogance.
how can you walk around like that when I know you're flawed?
Okay.
Right?
That's because you accept that you're flawed. And everybody is.
Now, why don't we?
Everybody is.
Why don't we walk around like that?
Because everybody thinks we're supposed to be perfect or strive for it.
So we got sold an idea?
Depends on where you're getting it from. Because we were told we're not perfect. But
we were preached into our minds.
For some reason, we can't grasp that.
Indoctrinated with the idea that we're imperfect, and then we're sold about an idea about perfection.
Same time. So yeah, you're right. It's kind of like a contradiction.
So it's a constant conflict.
Yep.
Right. So now you have people that walk around that want to be perfectionists. I'm guilty.
Me too.
Look, I don't want people to think anything contrary to this idea.
Right.
Trust me, I try to be a perfectionist, and I know perfectionism is a weakness.
It is. I hate it sometimes. Sometimes I just want to jump into stuff without thinking about if this step right, the next step right, and just be. And if I mess up, I mess up because, that's what I'm designed to be anyway. I'm designed to mess up sometime and not be perfect.
So what's your purpose?
Sometimes mess ups can be. What's my purpose? You gonna throw that out there? You want me to go there?
Hey, man. Again, one of the things that you and I are trying to do, right, is resonate with a brain. So what is our purpose at the end of the day? Do we know it? Do we know who we are? I
think I'm further along on the journey of realizing that, and I've actually been speaking to people lately, and this is something I usually hold back. I met a person the other day, and she was like, "What do you do?" I said, "As an occupation, or are you talking about in my life? Because I'm a healer." I said, "That's what I am. I'm a healer, but as an occupation, I do this." And she was like, "Oh, for really? A healer, huh?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm coming to terms with it. I've been along on this journey, and I'm finally realizing it. I used to think it was a gift and a curse, but it's actually a gift." And I was like, I'm learning to, hone in on it and use it for what it's meant for. And I normally don't just have conversations like this with people because you're like, people are like, oh.
I can almost picture that phone call that you get.
I'm telling you.
That person that won't stop calling you. So,
boy, you hit it.
A part of my mind says, I can easily agree with you and see your purpose because it resonates with you.
Right.
And, people say, oh, you got to find your purpose. Remember when we were young? Find your purpose in life. Some will say, do what you're happy doing or what you find joy in or what you love doing, right?
Do what you love. You never work a day of your life.
That's what they say.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for,
that's what
setting
I'm here
me
for.
straight.
I got you.
So, me, when I think of a purpose in life, again, it's within you. I will never forget, and people use these terms with me. My pseudo name is Stro or Maestro, right? And anybody that knows anything about the word, it means conductor, dictator, so forth and so on.
Dictator, huh?
Well, that's just the dictionary. You can also use the terminology minister. Because technically a minister is a conductor or a server, and he conduces.
I got you.
Right? My grandmother, ever since I was like 5-6 years of age, used to say, baby, you should be a minister.
Grandma knows best.
Have your own church, baby.
My grandma used to just tell me, you should have been a boy. All day, you should have been a boy.
Well, maybe so.
Lisa, you should have been a boy.
Sound like you should reproduce in this world.
Anywho, back to this purpose.
No, healer.
I am a healer.
Well, through healing, you can reproduce a person.
Oh yeah,
let's play on these words real fast.
I mean, that's what I do all day. I'm a light worker.
Okay.
You know, I used to shy away from it because being a healer attracts a lot of broken people and a lot of, and sometimes you're like, is it too much? But
I'm younger than you in the spiritual sense, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I'm older than you in the physical sense, right?
Okay, let's go with it. Let's go there.
Okay. But you helped reproduce me.
Oh, okay. Powerful. The way you can even say that. And I didn't do it selfishly. I just, that was just my job.
You can try to play with my dome if you want.
It wasn't a selfish reason. Sometimes you just meet an individual, you see how great they are, you see the light within.
I thought they called it gaslight.
And sometimes you illuminate beside them, so they can see it's okay to shine.
Yeah.
And that's a healing all in itself.
Well, thank you, healer.
Oh, no problem. That's what I'm here for. It's my purpose.
Get a crystal ball, okay?
Okay, now that's my next. Hey, slow down.
Well, we're not gonna talk about that right now.
I said slow down.
But at the end of the day, man, again, if you're not looking within yourself, because that's one of the things that you and I constantly challenge each other on, is looking within ourselves. And then, oddly enough, we look within each other.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of comical because as I look within you and you look within me, we find things that maybe we didn't want to find. And then we have to address, and then we have to communicate about.
Right. But we always make it to the other side.
Well, that's called a real friendship.
And communication.
Love. Yeah, I'm glad we're married.
Hey now.
I'm sorry?
Okay now.
So we're not a union?
I mean, we're united. But ain't no paperwork back up behind it.
Hey man, I don't need legal documents for our type
I'm just
of marriage.
saying. Yeah, I mean, you better break it down. You're going to break it down, Stro.
Man, hold up. So you telling me we're not married?
I'm telling you, we're united.
We're united?
Marriage in this world is, we don't...
Oh, you mean because we're so familiar with a term that we accept it as the definition?
I won't say accept it as the definition. I just want to say anybody that's listening to this might not understand where you're going with it. So I'm telling you, you to go there. I'm telling you to go there. If you can't just drop something like that without going there.
Well, I'm talking to you, so you should know already.
Yeah, you're talking to me, but I mean, every people are listening in on the conversation. We can't just leave them blind.
Pull your veil back.
All right, I tell my grandma that. She says she was born with a veil across her face.
Well, when I say pull your veil back, welcome to your wedding day.
Oh, okay. Well, you better break it down.
Well, I'll break it down like this. Any type of bond is a union, and by proxy, a union is a marriage. So any friendship or relationship should be just that. And if that's not what you're seeking in any type of connection with a person, you're wasting your time.
I mean, that sounds like a good setup to me. I mean, you break up friendship, give me 50% and let's roll.
See, that's a legal document and that's government benefit. I'm not going that route.
You don't like that marriage?
I really don't.
I
really don't. You're letting somebody else benefit something off of us. Mm-hmm. They piggybacked off of us and suppressed us.
True.
I don't like that.
Yeah, we won't hit deep into that one, but I feel.
We'll come back. We'll dedicate a whole album.
I just needed them to know the type of marriage that you were speaking of.
Oh my God.
That's all. But we got it clear. It's a word. It just means.
I felt like you tried to slap me.
Nah. I kind of probably
did
it spiritually.
Don't talk all sexy on the phone.
Oh, dog. Not the phone. I must have sounded real good, man. That boy said on the phone.
Well, microphone.
Oh, well.
Don't play with me.
It's a phone. You bounce back. You got that.
Trying to catch me slipping.
Mm-hmm. All right. Slipping. But just here is a part of our purpose. This is what we're doing now. Just having these conversations, just talking, this is going to be healing all in itself, the entire journey of this. So I don't know. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to just expanding the brain, receiving information, providing information, taking it in. And I'm just ready to see where this goes, man. See if this vulnerability comes into play as we go along this journey.
D-Luv, I got to tell you something, man. That's one of the things that I respect about you and I is that we have this insatiableness about us. Granted, to some people that could be a negative.
To a lot of people it's a negative.
But the beauty of it is we never reach a plateau. Mm-hmm. And we have this great desire to know for ourselves. And because we are selfish in that we end up giving to others.
Okay.
So our insatiableness puts us in a position to actually heal and help and nurture.
And heal and help ourselves, because we actually discover a lot of stuff like along the journey, like as you said, in each other. So a lot of times I'm like, oh God, yeah, you just hit that on the head. Hey. So just as healing it will be to everybody else, it'll heal certain parts of us as well. I mean, it's a journey together.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree too, man.
Well, you know what? Before we put an end to this combo, I want you to do a favor if you don't mind.
Myself or you?
You.
Thank you. I did myself a favor. Okay. All right. Let me be selfish for a second.
Pick a subject.
Pick a subject. You're gonna hit me with that right now. Pick a subject.
Okay. Well, if you're not gonna pick a subject, I'll read something.
Well, how about you can read something until I pick a subject.
Yeah, you pick a subject?
Yeah, you can go ahead. What are you sharing with us today?
Well, you and I one day sat down and we were doing some writing. And you said, Stro, I'm going to pick a topic and I want you to write whatever comes to your mind. Immediately, I thought to myself, man, this D-Luv is a beautiful person. I'm like, golly, I love you, man.
I love you too, bro.
And you pick connection. And I'm thinking to myself, connection? My whole ride over here was about love in my brain. And you pick connection?
Connection, what came up, man?
All right. Do we really understand it to be bonded with one another? Fear creeps in because it means we have to trust it. The fear that it can be lost, that means to be vulnerable. It's as if our energy flows in and out of it to each other. Close your eyes and imagine, like seriously, I want you to close your eyes and imagine that energy is leaving you as you breathe and returning back to you from another as they breathe. Like close your eyes and imagine that as you feel the energy in the room. It can be so strong that you don't have to even be around each other. You can still feel it. That type of vibration. The distance doesn't even matter. Sadly, we feel it so rarely because so many people are disconnected in this world. They're distracted by life, work, social media. I mean, you name it. There are so many distractions that exist in our world. Breathe, be calm, patient, and take notice so we can allow ourselves the opportunity to be connected. It's the last little piece, and this is the part I really love the most, to be honest with you.
All right, let's hear it.
Thoughts can correlate. It's like telepathy. You ever had that before?
Yeah, I think I have experienced it.
I know.
Too.
Yeah, you and I have. Dreams can even harmonize. Through connection, it brings peace and love. Connections can be so strong that it transcends flesh, as if we had been here before. The energy, like it's present before. Will we fight it? Allow ourselves to grow from it? The elevation of one's spirit, to transcend heavenward, to not descend, to not go backwards. It's a gift from above to be connected. That's love.
I feel that. I feel every word though, but you have a way of painting pictures with words. You have a way of evoking emotions with words. So I don't know, everything you feel, a lot of people don't have that skill to convey that message.
Well, I appreciate your love.
Especially on a sheet of paper.
Man, and that's one thing I used to never want to do. Can I tell you the truth?
Right?
Oh my goodness, I never wanted to write. I always wanted to freestyle with people.
What freestyle?
Freestyle.
Do you want to? I mean...
Yeah, pick a subject. I told you. Pick a topic. And I'll give you whatever resonates in my brain.
Whether it's a poem or you just speaking about it. I don't know. The word that keep coming to my head, and I try to go around it and come up with something else because I feel like it's so cliche, but I don't know. The word that came to my mind was just happiness. Definitions of it is different variations of it. What happiness, whatever it means to you, it don't have to be a certain way you go with it. Just like that writing exercise, the word happiness, just whatever spews out.
The very first thing that pops in my mind is happiness is not defined. No matter how often we would try to put a definition to something, my happiness is what brings tingle and sensation throughout my entire body. And what brings that is usually the satisfaction of giving. That brings me a great deal of happiness. To feel love. And when I say love, man, I'm talking about somebody that genuinely cares about you throughout any misunderstanding is true happiness. Family can be that. And family is not defined by color, no skin, no creed, no belief. That's happiness to me. To see something so united, such a support system, such comfort. I'm talking about when you are absolutely broken and that person says, hey man, I'll hug you, I'll hold you, I'll sleep with you. And when I say that, I literally mean you crawl up in the bed because I was so broken that you hold me. See, that's happiness. Because you can't put definition to that.
Okay.
That's hard to even relate. Words can't even describe the feeling that it creates. That makes sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
So
I'm about to push it deeper in a second. Go ahead.
Oh, I love it. You can come with it if you want.
Oh, okay.
But again,
go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish.
Imagine that, man. You just dealt with a loss of a loved one, and who's next to you? They don't even have to say words. Nothing but everything, all understood as if it was heard.
Okay. You ready?
I'm listening.
So the word we're using is happiness. That's the word I chose. So do you think if most people chose happiness above all, what percentage of people you think will have a totally different life right now? How many people you actually think live within happiness? And yeah, what's the question? How many people life you think be totally different? They would have chose differently. They would have did things differently if they chose happiness.
Well, here becomes a problem. People have a false idea of what happiness is. So
you don't think happiness, the definition changes depending on the person? Because what I value as happiness may be something different from you.
Yes. For example, some people say something like, if I had $3 million, I'd be happy.
Because the question is, though, how many people you think are not living happy or just settling? And if they chose happiness, they would have a different life.
The majority of the world.
And choosing happiness, when you say that's, is that being selfish?
To choose happiness?
Yes.
Well, if you don't know what self-love is.
Because if you say a majority of the world didn't choose happiness and they're living and they're not living a life of what they consider happiness or with the person they consider they'd be happy with. So that means, therefore, people cannot be selfish if that meant majority of the people. Because that means they chose other ways that didn't.
Then we're mistaken on if we don't understand what the power of the mind is. Once you've been taught to think a certain way, you might think you're bringing yourself happiness by being selfish in a certain capacity and not know that you're not bringing happiness to yourself.
So you think by definition, most people don't obtain happiness because you say the majority of people life
are conditioned to think a certain way. Yes.
So most people live settling and not living within it and truly within happiness.
And sadly, majority of the people are selfish in the wrong way. They just don't know it.
Okay.
They've been conditioned to think a certain way.
Okay. I got you. I hear you. Happiness.
Hey, look, that's one of the things I had to break myself of just in case you're unaware. Now, you on a personal level are familiar with the fact of how I grew up, what I was exposed to, what I had to break in terms of barriers within my mental concepts. And I'm okay with acknowledging that, technically speaking, I still possess selfish qualities. The difference in the higher conscious of this animal is I want love and friendship. That's what I want for me, so that's what I project.
So how could you really be selfish? Because even though you're receiving it, but you're still putting it right back out.
That's what I want, so that's what I give.
Right. So technically, are we selfish?
Better to give than to receive.
There you go. You go back to that one though. Technically, like, our nature, I don't know. I'm still going back to that selfish thing though, because like you said, it's a revolving door. Even if I am receiving something, even if I do feel good, I'm putting it back into the world.
Well, let me go ahead and say this. Regardless of what people do, it will not change me. Mm-hmm. And that's when my encouragement to every single person is, do not let anybody rob you of your true joy and happiness. Mm-hmm. What brings you happiness? Again, we have the phrase, it's better to give than receive, because that's true happiness.
Are you happy?
Who, me? Absolutely. Okay. There are days that I'm not, though. I don't want to mislead you.
Mm-hmm. Make sure you say that, because people think happiness is like a constant thing. Some people searching for happiness, they think it's a constant state, and I want to be this at all times, and I don't think that's the way it works.
No.
Right.
I mean, I would love that, but our whole world would have to be different for me to have constant happiness at 100% level. True
happiness would be just accepting yourself and accepting that things won't always be great, but you're okay with it. Yes. You're okay with the fact that sometimes you're going to have sad times, sometimes you're going to be angry, sometimes you're going to feel these different types of emotions that may not be happiness, but ultimately I'm happy because I can feel these emotions, I can process them, and I can feel them and just let them pass.
And you already know we struggle with emotion in this world. You know, now we use a terminology called empath, and I'm like,
they tell me I'm that, huh?
Well, they say I'm that too, technically, and I'm a male.
Oh, males can be empaths.
You know how to condition.
I'm not thinking with a conditioned mind. I'm talking to you,
and I appreciate that. Okay, thank you so much.
All right.
But one of the struggles is, all we're talking about is a person that can understand emotion. Though, like if you break down the word empath, it's a person that can identify emotion quickly.
That's what. But you identify emotion from energy as empath.
And now we're going a little further, but thank you.
It's not really the words that come out your mouth. I mean, that helps, but it's really empaths can feel it to the point that they can feel what you are feeling because they're so in tuned.
Yes.
So
emotion.
Right. Even if you feel a different emotion, they feel it go through them. Yeah. You're feeling what they're feeling.
Now, if I walked around emotionless and void of thought, you would actually struggle as an empath.
Not really, because you can feel the emptiness.
And that's all you would know.
That's what it is. That's what's being felt.
But that means we're still searching for an emotion.
No, I think you can accept as is. Like,
also,
they're just empty. But
we just termed it again. They're emotionless.
Okay.
Empty.
They're empty. Empty is not an emotion. It's the lack of
an emotion.
Yeah, the lack of.
We're still using the word emotion
because you're using it, you're putting it in there. So I continue the use of the word emotion for
right. So for me in that situation, we have to learn how to connect. I don't care what verbiage we use in our world. If we're not connected to the energy that's around us, we're missing it.
Okay.
So you used the word. I used the word empath. You went straight to the word energy. And I'm like, oh my God, that's actually brilliant when you really think about it. Because at the end of the day, we're all balls of energy. Some people try to hide that energy. Some people are okay with showing that energy.
That's the difference. Some people are okay with feeling it. Some people, they just pretend like it isn't there or just don't acknowledge it. So everybody's an empath.
To be vulnerable.
Most people are empath.
Everybody is capable.
Because we're all energy.
We're all energy. And it's crazy to me, but people are afraid of all of those things. People are actually afraid of the thought.
It took a while. Sometimes, because I've been like this since I was a kid. And it was sometimes I knew I was different and I knew I feel things deeply and it used to bother me. I used to want to turn it off. Like, man, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to put on this front. I'm not going to feel this. I'm not like I wanted to turn it on and off. So I get it.
So you found your purpose.
Yeah. Found my purpose, man. I accepted my purpose. I accepted it.
I like that.
Yeah, I accepted that's what it was because I fought it. It's like, I don't want to be this person. I don't want to do this. Like I say, broken people come to me, but, I am light. I must shine.
Well, you definitely shine bright.
Thanks.
I'll give you that.
Okay.
I have to give you that because we found each other.
Yeah. So you shine bright as well.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate that. But you met me in a very odd period of time because I go through various stages in this world. Living in this atmosphere of a society, I find myself in different phases.
Okay.
And I remember when we stumbled across each other.
Stumbled.
Well, I say stumbled because who put us there?
I don't know, man.
At the same time, at the right time.
Like, literally. Like, I couldn't even fathom needing someone.
And see,
like
that's
you.
me piggybacking off of your original statement when it comes to purpose and how people can get confused with predestination. I say the universe or energy sometimes finds itself within that same energy.
Okay.
And if you allow it, you shall resonate with it.
But also they say when you vibrate in a certain way and whatever level you at, you start to attract people on that level. So at the end, we met at a time where I was awakened, learning new things.
Yep.
I was open to that.
Yep.
That's the kind of thing I was looking for. I was manifesting it. And lo and behold, who would have knew to come in a package called Stro?
Right. 349 years of age, 340 this year.
No.
December born. I want you to know that.
Okay, so you really do attract wherever you are. You think that's true? Wherever you are in life or whatever, you're attracting that.
Man, you'd be surprised the people I met. I said I don't want to do this because most people can if they pay a little bit of attention to themselves or their surroundings or the atmosphere in which they're manifesting or at least existing in.
Okay.
Sometimes I think my life is a movie.
It feels like that.
I mean, if I told you details, you would think that.
I think we all have our own personal movie. Seriously.
We do.
I read that in a book. I forgot. It's the same guy who wrote 4 Agreements. He has a book.
Oh, yeah, Miguel.
I think called The Voice of Knowledge.
Yeah, Miguel.
Yeah.
I like him. You know why?
Miguel Ruiz.
Yeah, you know how I can remember that name so easily? Miguel in English is Michael.
Okay, Michael.
Thank you.
Okay.
A fallen angel.
Okay.
But anyway, or, I'm sorry, the high archangel or the archangel, whatever you want to use. Anyway, I don't want to get caught up in that. But it's crazy to me because, yes, that's within us and we're capable of that. Drawing energy to us or connecting to energy. We can project, we can manifest. What idea you put in your head actually can translate in reality. My caution for any person and myself is don't do it in a negative capacity.
Okay.
Because if you're not careful, you will bring some real problems to yourself.
I agree with that.
So one of our biggest things that I think I want to encourage people to do, and I know you as a healer want to do, is we want to encourage people to be good to themselves and good to people. Right. So when I talk about selfishness, earlier, I want to bring this back because if you don't know how to love yourself first, you will not know how to love another.
It starts with you.
So understand that your innateness, what's in you through the animal is a selfish quality, but your higher consciousness is supposed to help you be better than that.
All right. And selfishness doesn't always have to be viewed as bad. I like to mess with you, go back and forth and stretch it. Like, yeah, it doesn't have to be viewed as a negative. And you actually, there's a lot of words that you've actually taught me that yourself, that you taught me to look at certain words that have a negative connotation that they don't have to be looked at like that.
Oh,
a couple of them. So yeah,
you're hilarious,
right?
But I'm gonna come to that in a few seconds. But so self-love, right? Mm-hmm. So if you know how to love yourself, then you'll know how to love another. If you don't know how to love yourself, you do not know how to love another.
Right.
Technically speaking, that is a selfish quality at first.
And you would think you need another to almost exist when you don't love yourself. You will always constantly need somebody. Like codependency and all that is born. You will always need someone to validate yourself.
You do have to exhibit certain forms of independency, but know that we're not by nature designed to be independent. All animals have a companion.
Okay.
All animals
have a companion. Now you got me trying to think of one that hang by itself.
Even when they do, their nature takes its course. We all have companions.
Okay.
So
you trying to say you my companion?
We're married.
Oh God. Why did I even have to go there? You got me with that one. I'm going to sit back.
Shots fired.
You did bow bow.
Shots fired. Well, okay, I'm going to leave that alone because I think we drilled the hole in what selfishness should mean. Mm-hmm. Right? Your selfishness should not be a manipulative tool.
Right.
It should not be the negative narcissistic view.
Right.
But do we understand what narcissism is?
Oh, you want to go there?
Well, I have to, because sadly, most people never look up the word.
I think, okay, I'm going to let you go with this, and I'm going to say what I feel. I'm not going to hold back, so just get ready.
Man, you can shoot all the gunshots you want to shoot.
Just get ready.
But again, we talked about self-love. We talked about selfishness. We talked about nature, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like we built enough up to understand where I'm going with this.
Okay.
If you look up narcissism or narcissistic and you drill all the way down to the Latin origin, guess what it says?
What does it say?
Self-love.
Okay. But you don't think it could be too much of a good thing? They never said that narcissism is self-love. It's too much of it, though. It's like, that's all you think about. Everything goes back to you. Like, I know a couple people who have been branded narcissists, and they bring everything full circle back to them. They always do. Everything comes back to them. Every situation, got to come back to them. And
that's where we have to be careful, and I agree with you. See, the only thing we're supposed to do when it comes to bringing it back to ourselves is relatability. In order for me to understand you, technically it has to resonate within me.
But do you have to do that often at all? Like, entire time? It's like people who, I guess, suffer from quote-unquote serious narcissism. It's on a different level. It's like, you could say the sun's outside, and I saw a sun too. It's like,
well, they
have to put themselves as part of it. But that could be a deeper thing. I think when a lot of people suffer from it like that, they suffer from, I'm not gonna say lack of attention. I think they suffer from lack of attention, so that's why they bring everything back to self, because they never had anyone doing that. They never had anyone making it about them. So they had to do that for themselves, and I think they just kind of got carried away with it, and they don't realize that now you don't have to do that. You know, other people can see your greatness too. But I understand. Sometimes I understand where it's coming from.
Well, yeah, I guess I could see that.
Are you saying because you
that I'm narcissistic?
Yeah, I tell you all the time. Anytime you defend narcissism, anytime he defends narcissism, I always ask him. I always say, "You a narcissist?"
See, I have to look. I got to make sure you understand this point. I'm not encouraging narcissism.
Mm. I didn't say you were. We're just addressing some things. We're just doing what we do, stretching the brain.
But the problem becomes people actually don't know what it entails. Mm-hmm. Now, if I can never show you love, never understand your point of view, never be willing to listen to your counsel, instruction, or guidance, or affection, that's the negative narcissist.
That's a negative part of it? Because maybe it encompasses all of that. That part and the other part.
Again, that becomes my struggle with the English language. Because self-love is a healthy concept. However, you can make self-love negative.
That's narcissism. That's what they're trying to say.
That's what they're claiming.
That's what it is.
But I can
self-love and too much of it, which is narcissism, is supposed to be the negative side of it. Yeah. I think people who really defend narcissism like that get offended because they have traits of it within themselves.
We all do.
Everyone.
Again,
narcissism is not just self-love. It's
let's go back to
too much of it.
Let's go. Right. And that becomes
I met some.
But that's not how the word is defined. It doesn't say too much self-love. It simply just says self-love.
In the dictionary, that's what you're saying.
Literally.
So you based on like just the basic definition of that's all it means. People could take it and made it what they wanted to.
Right.
They need to change Webster, is what you're saying? No. If they want to use it in such a way.
Then you'd have to change the whole English language.
If you take our narcissism, it changes the whole entire English language.
You would have to.
Why?
Because the origin of the word is self-love.
Okay. So you would have to change every other word just to change the word narcissism.
Well, I mean,
to something different, to what it is.
We do a lot of things with the dictionary anyway, but because English language is a concoction of words and Latin is its basis, that'd be a struggle. But remember, we talked about something earlier, right? So we just broke down narcissism. And again, I don't want people to be narcissistic. I do not. I'm not going to be narcissistic. So I'm going to continue to show love to others because you and I both know it's better to give.
So are you saying there's just two different forms of narcissism? They're like toxic narcissism? Maybe if you add a word like that on top of it, is what you're saying. Sound like it.
As we remember in the English language, words have multiple meanings. we as a society only focus on the negative idea of narcissism because it's only used in a negative connotation. That's the only reason I bring up the fact that it actually says self-love in it.
Gotcha.
Because we don't know the meaning of the word. So it gets utilized only in one facet. But if we understand that we are animals by nature, which means we are selfish, and we learn through our higher conscious not to only be selfish, but to show love to others. But we have to understand that we love ourselves first, and then we show love to others. That's a breakdown of the narcissistic view that I would want to encourage people to try to possess for themselves. Again, because the word is only used in a negative connotation, I actually would never tell people to be narcissistic.
And there has to be a separation then. But if you want to break it down like that, and by definition is self-love, you got to be able to throw another word like that. Toxic. They have to have narcissism and toxic narcissism. They got to need to separate.
They don't do that. I mean, you got to look at the word in its entirety. Now, again, you have to actually literally break the word down and go to Latin before you actually even see it.
Right. But how many people
will do that?
Yeah. So what does it say when you don't go to Latin?
Oh, only the negatives.
Okay, well, I mean, that's what we go about over here in the U.S. then.
But our English language is based off Latin. So is Spanish, so is Tagalog.
So we're going to use Latin for this word, and this word. Why stop when we get the narcissism is what you're saying.
I use it for every word.
We should still, yeah. So we can't pick and choose.
For me, I'm always going to the Latin.
Latin everything.
Or I'm looking up the origin. If it's Greek, Latin, or whatever the case may be, I'm looking up the origin of the word. So I have a better understanding of what it means.
Right, now what we turned it into is what it started off as.
And now, I'm not going to like this conversation, but I'm going to spit it quickly. That's why politicians don't fool me. That makes sense?
I'm listening.
Please tell me that makes sense.
I'm listening. Makes sense.
That's why politicians don't fool me.
Yeah.
That's how people get caught up.
I got you. You looking serious when you say that too.
Well, that's how we stay in the divided world. I gotta tell you something, D-Luv, man. This conversation has been awesome. I'm
always
grateful.
You know that.
I'm grateful.
When we get together and vibe, you never know what come out, or how many fights, or how many times someone gets. I'm just joking. I love this guy. Love his mind.
You can fight if you
brilliant.
Want to, but I mean, you know.
The fact that he'll let me just sit here and beat up on him with words and ask him questions, some of the tough ones, and try to think around it and try to see if he can change his mind or whatever. I mean,
you opened my mind. I give you that.
That too. We both do that for each other.
Yeah. So I'm definitely grateful.
So. It's definitely more to come. You're definitely gonna be stroked a little bit more. We got more to come. Listen to me and this guy talk and collaborate, man. It's a journey. Y'all can get ready for the ride, man.
Well, stay stroked up. Get your mind stimulated.
All right, man. Out.